Howdy everybody, welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again. I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today, but before we go ahead and get into that, I just want to remind everybody I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War 3 mod tournament. It's going to be a 4v4 tournament with a first prize of $100, and I'd also like to interview the winning team. So if you are interested in that, or you would like to send me any replays, go ahead and send something to my email address, which is TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com, or you can head to my Discord, which the link is in the description box below along with that email address. Alright, so today's replay was sent in to me by Steely Dan. He is a fellow YouTuber. He's got his own channel. Go ahead and check it out. He does some Napoleonic Total War as well as some other things besides this game. So I am grateful for him to send this replay to me. Also, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to everybody who has reached out to me. During these casts, I've had some people privately message me, and also you guys have been commenting, which I greatly appreciate. I've heard nothing but positive things, and it's just always nice to hear. So keep it up, guys. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate the positive vibes. I'll keep doing this if you guys keep enjoying it, because I really enjoy Napoleonic Total War replays specifically. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into today's match. It's a 4v4 match on a map that I just detest, Netherlands 4A, and we start out on the beachhead as the coalition, or rather that's where the coalition is going to be starting out. Austria is going to be the first faction for the coalition today, followed by the Helder expedition as coalition army number 2. Coalition Army number 3 is going to be United Kingdom 1815. And Sweden is going to be the final faction for the coalition today. On the Imperial side, we're going to have the Imperial Guard for France, followed by the Italian Army of Italy of France, followed by France Orient, and all the way in the back here is going to be Denmark. So, one of the reasons I don't like this map, we get to the ground here, is that there's all these waterways. It's very, very hard to maneuver if you start on this side of the map. It's extremely difficult. So my recommendation here is probably for either army, and what I think is going to happen is either army is going to make a move for the town, because the 2-pointer is in the center of the map here, and it's a pretty decent defensive position. The other suggestion I have, if I was playing as the Imperials today, what I would actually do, because the Imperials start out on this right side with the exception of the Imperial Guard being on the far right, I would actually shift my armies all the way to the left to fight on the beach, because I think they're going to fare better in the line battle. They'll be able to maneuver better. If the Imperials can get into the woods on this left side, they're going to be at a good advantage. They'll be protected against cav charges and potentially some outflanking maneuvers. If I was the coalition today, trying to get into the town would be extremely helpful to prevent any potential threats from this side. And you might actually be able to cut off the Imperial Guard if they do not storm the village right away. You could also send maybe 2 armies into the village to divide the Imperial Guard coming across, and then have another, maybe a half army, leave a guard on this side, which is a great defensive position because of the waterways here along with this house. But I can already hear it looks like maybe at least 1 army's in the village here. I'm not 100% sure. I personally, I've said this before, I don't like fighting in villages. I don't like taking houses if they're already defended, because they're such strong defensive positions. I especially don't like storming them in this particular area because of the waterways. And because buildings are static, you cannot maneuver your army. You have to center your army around the building if that's what you want to take and hold. And also, a lot of players, once they take a building, they just kind of sit there and defend it without reinforcing the building itself a lot of the times, or they don't. Or they won't maneuver their armies to stay close to the building to get the best amount of cover between their troops, the enemy, and whatever defenses are around the area. So it's kind of frustrating for me if I'm a teammate and that happens, which is why I try to avoid the buildings a lot of the times. So it looks like actually the coalition's going for something a little bit different than I thought was going to happen. I had assumed that they were going to go into the town here and we were going to have a battle. But it looks like the coalition is actually shifting their armies to the right, which I think is actually a pretty good move. The only thing they need to be careful about is maybe being too aggressive. Like I said, if Denmark takes this, I believe Denmark's here, yep. If Denmark takes this building, they want to be careful because they'll be out in the open. They'll have to pass through these waterways. It will be difficult. Not to mention there's all this cav here. It could be a good idea just to place some artillery in the woods here, or at least by this ruins area, and then fire into the cav. But there's actually a real good opportunity to outflank Denmark on this section. If there's let's say the coalition moves up all of their armies into the forest here, they're going to be at a big advantage if France decides to engage them, because the force along this line all are all on a higher elevation. And since this is an elevated position with the forest, they're going to have an excellent defensive position against any encroaching infantry. It'll help them against cavalry charges as well. Looks like we got a little bit of a cav engagement here from the army of Italy, trying to get some out-of-place chevaliers from Austria. Looks like they were able to couple. And they're getting back charged by some chevaliers. They probably didn't want to commit due to this United Kingdom heavy cab coming up. So I don't blame them for getting out of there. And I actually don't think they took any losses. So good on the Imperials. Well done. Sweden's forming up here in the town. Or I'm sorry, outside of town into the forest area. Sweden might want to push up a little bit just in case they're trying to get... in case France tries to push up on them. Which may be unlikely if France looks like it's kind of content just sitting in the town and maybe just forming a line. And that's kind of what I would do if I was in France's position at the moment. I would not force an attack. I wouldn't want to go through that strong defensive position. I would want the coalition to attack me because I would have the stronger defensive position, being centered on this town here, along with this other side on the far left where Denmark is in this building. But as I said before, Denmark needs to be careful it doesn't get outflanked, which would actually be kind of difficult for the coalition to do because there's all these waterways. They'd have to funnel troops through these crossings if they wanted to. I believe they can still cross the waterways here, but they're going to be slowed down immensely, which would give Denmark an opportunity to get some extra fire on them. So you can hear some troops moving on this side, some artillery going off. Imperial Guard's got some heavy cav on this right flank. I think Sweden's still maybe a little bit... If they're going to stay here, that's okay if they're anticipating an attack, but at some point, they're going to want to take the LOC, potentially. Unless they can control this two-pointer down here, then France is going to have to attack them. Well, scratch that, actually. France does control this one-pointer, and they'd be able to back-cap this four-pointer in the far back line here. So I guess technically if the Imperials could hold it, then they could win by a single point, assuming nobody takes these northern buildings up top, which I don't think that they will. Got some howitzers going off on this Imperial Guard cav. Looks like it might have been scouting or trying to go after an artillery piece. Austria's starting to push up. Helder Expedition is starting to push up. We got some Imperial Guard infantry, it looks like, pushing up. Imperial Guard needs to be careful. I don't know where the rest of the French troops are. Imperial Guard troops are, a lot of the times, they're mostly just best suited for taking and holding points, not necessarily outflanking maneuvers, which is maybe what the Imperial Guard are going after. They would be able to defeat this rear guard here from Sweden. But what I like to see from Sweden here is that he actually has a guard on his left flank to guard this section to prevent him from being outflanked. It also allows him time to shift his troops over if this is where the main body of the attack is coming over. Imperial Guard needs to be careful here. He needs to get his troops in line formation. He's just getting free shots against them right now. And this is a little bit of a risky maneuver from the Imperial Guard. If he's just coming over to buy himself, this is not something I would recommend. One, Sweden could have had its line infantry in these woods on this hill, and it would be an extremely difficult position for him to take. But the other reason for why I'm thinking this is a bad move is because the Imperial Guard could easily be isolated on this flank. It's just them, as far as I can tell. And yes, they'll be able to defeat this rear guard here, but the rear guard is meant, it's there for a reason. It's there to delay and protect the flank. So you can see actually Sweden is seeing where the main body of the Imperial Guard's attack is coming from, and he's shifting over his troops. And this guard here is going to give him enough time to be able to shift over. And that's something I like to see. So on this right flank, still not engaged. Austria's formed up in the woods. UK is falling back, and actually thought I heard a charge or something here. I mean, if the United Kingdom wanted to, what he could do is he could shift some troops over with Sweden to go after the Imperial Guard here. We've got a little bit of a line battle gauging, and this is a good job on Sweden. You know, he just allowed a single volley to harass the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard's line had to stop, fire a volley at them, And then Sweden started retreating against them. Yeah, he's giving up this hill right here. However, he has the second defensive fallback position, which is this hill right here. So he can plop his guard on this side of the hill, bring up the rest of his army on this side, and the Imperial Guard's going to be at another disadvantage. We've actually got France coming up on the line here. Very surprising. Okay, he's retreating a little bit. I'm surprised by this. I would not storm my troops into the enemy's superior position, defensive position. I think that's a misstep. A Helder expedition might actually get outflanked on this left side. Austria's troops, I think, might be a little bit spread too thin. Maybe consolidate them a little bit. Looks like there's a gap here in the line, which cavalry might be able to exploit, or even just some infantry. Well done here. Sweden's forming a square against this French line, or I'm sorry, this French cav. Well done on him. He is successfully delaying the Imperial Guard's advance, shifting his troops over to take the high ground. Well done, sir. Denmark on the side could actually outflank Helder Expedition. Helder Expedition has some extra reinforcements here, but his line is not spread very long. And if I had to guess, Denmark has better shooting infantry than Helder Expedition. That's just a guess off the top of my head. I couldn't tell you exactly how they compare 100%. Imperial Guard needs to be careful. He's running his infantry, which, you know, I can understand that people do at times, but sometimes people run them for too long. I know he wants to get these guys in a line as quickly as possible to get some shots on Sweden as quickly as possible. He just needs to be careful, because with that running of the troops, it lowers morale, makes your troops tired, decreases accuracy, and I believe also reloading time. I think this troop was actually winded for a second, but, you know, Imperial Guards outflanked on the left side. Sweden needs to push up these, infantry units right into this flank of this unit right here. I think Sweden's a little bit too far up on the hill. It's not going to get the best firing position. He could have been at a more elevated position. If he's just retreating back up on this hill, it gives the Imperial Guard an opportunity to get up there. There's a lot of stuff going on the lines here. Austria is facing off against the Army of Italy of France. France looks like it's pushing up, and it could actually run some infantry units into the skirmisher unit right here, and it would actually divide the line of Austria pretty well. I don't see any cav from Austria. It's just these guns. Okay, here's some Austrian cav, but it would take some time to react, and these are heavy cav, so it would definitely take some time to get over there. See if Helder Expedition is engaged. No, not yet. Austria is a little bit too concave, I think, at the moment. They should fall their troops back. Get some more elevation going. Sweden looks like is falling back against The Imperial Guard. That's kind of a mistake, I think. Because they can outflank the Imperial Guard on this side. They've got 3 units firing at one flank, 4 units firing at potentially at 1 infantry unit. I think that's a big mistake. Imperial Guard chasing some Austrian cav. Is Austria going to be able to get at this? He might actually be able to win this. This Imperial Guard unit's tired. Right now, Sweden's got a pretty decent, got a little bit of the higher elevation. They might want to actually move up these line units here to fire on this one. Maybe get some flanking fire on this. They've got some cav on this side, which should be able to get into these. This unit right here cannot form square. I'd be running this cav right into these units. Yeah, he's got 2 units on this side that cannot form square. Push up your infantry on this left side. Charge the cav in. At very least, you could delay these guard units from retreating on that side. I think this is a mistake against the Imperial Guard. The more it folds its flank here, the more it gets cut off from reinforcements. Sweden can get the local superiority right here on these couple of units. It could fire downhill into the flank of this guard unit. I don't believe France's general is over here. No, they are not. Okay, it's good to see that Sweden is pushing up its infantry here in this line battle. This is a mistake by the Imperial Guard. If I was the Imperial Guard, I would give this up. Well, 1, I wouldn't have charged in here by myself, but 2, I would give up this hill. I'd retreat back to my allies. Looks like Sweden's going in for a charge here against the retreating infantry. It's able to do a little bit of damage, get that morale hit in there. But unfortunately, that line unit was able to form square. And this is this is just a mistake by the Imperial Guard. They're continuing to retreat. They're gonna be again. They're gonna have to give up the hill, continue to retreat. It's just not. They're just not in a good position. So it looks like France in the center has moved up as well. France Orient's moved up. UK is having a little trouble with their skirmishers on the flank. They need some reinforcements. Austria should bring up this unit. If there's any artillery that needs to be brought to bear on this French line. See if this unit will get a volley off. Oh, nice volley. France Orient is always a beautiful, beautiful faction to use. They've got great, great colorful uniforms. And France España is also great. Oh, some nice canister shot on this this unit. This unit is routed. I hear some charges going off in the center here. Looks like France is pushed up. This artillery might have been routed, or maybe they were pulled off the line. Austria's charged in some cav to kind of hold off France in this center section. And I think at this point, Austria probably needs to fall back. This howitzer unit's a bit exposed due to the nature of this this line unit. Looks like it's slowly dwindling. Not to mention the center is getting weak here. This line infantry morales looks low. This is just a Landwehr unit. And there's this big gap here that France could exploit. In between the Helder expedition and Austria, he could easily push these troops forward. Easily. Check again. Imperial Guard, they're going probably the wrong way, but this is really the only thing that's left of them. Maybe if they're quick about it, they can move their armies and get into the back line of the United Kingdom or Austria. But if they're going to do that, they need to come quickly. This is what I was talking about. You know, it looked like France Orient was doing a good job initially against the United Kingdom. But they're just not in the they're not in the better they don't hold the good ground. That the United Kingdom has that. The coalition has the better ground. And now France is folding back on this side. Denmark's engaged with the Helder expedition finally. Good on Denmark here. He sees an opportunity to outflank Helder expeditions. This is exactly what I would recommend. It's what I mentioned earlier as well. If Denmark has a general unit, I'd stick him behind this ruin here. You could always fall back your infantry on this flank as well. And now France needs to be the one that's to fall back right here. Denmark's in real trouble, needs to fall back or outflank quickly on this left side. He's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. These units cannot form square. Only this third one here. I would have put this, you got to get these guys into the forest. They're going to be better suited to help pushing this flank. This unit's not engaged, needs to be pushed up. Got some Helder and Denmark Cav trading here. Some Helder, I think they were skirmishers. They're taking off. And I think Denmark could win here if he moves a couple of his retreating... if he moves a couple infantry units back to preserve them and then hits Helder's right flank here, he could really roll up this line. And we've got some Imperial Guard still retreating in the back. France again retreating to the house. This is what I recommend. Retreating to the village, rather. These units are routed unnecessarily. I would have moved them back a long time ago. These guys should have been pushed into the fight on this left flank a long time ago. Start moving this... I think this is a general unit on this far left side. Maybe not. I thought I saw a general unit. Maybe it was this guy. This, instead of coming up to the front, it needs to be moved to the left. Do not put it right here. This is not where you want it. What you want to do in this scenario is you want to push on the left, and then if the Helder expedition decides to advance or your flank is getting weak on this right side, you fold it back, wrap them up on the other side. Austria looks pretty darn weak in the center here. A good cav charge might be able to take it out if the Imperials have any cav left whatsoever. If you can bait Austria into a little bit of attack here, your infantry, France's infantry, could probably beat them in a line battle. France needs to get this camel cavalry out of the water. See if we can get a volley off here. Now that Helder Expedition has pushed up a little bit too far, France, Italy should be pushing this flank. Denmark could retreat these guys a little bit. And I like to see that they acknowledge this and are taking advantage of it. Careful with this cav charge. Denmark might be able to get into your lines. This infantry is way too static. It should have been joined into the fight a long time ago. Big mistake. Cav charge looks like against the United Kingdom from France. Able to rout this infantry. Well done. Imperial Guard is still continuing to retreat. Needs to get in the line of fire at these units. I would actually just put these this heavy cav into the fight right now. You're going to get surrounded and overtaken anyway. You might as well have your infantry come up, fire into this Austrian heavy cav. You've got your general unit nearby to help support your cavalry. That's the best thing you could do at the moment. I know Sweden's hot on your trail, but this cav is just going to continue to delay you unless you're able to get rid of it. You had an excellent opportunity to pin some cav in place and use your infantry to pour fire into the Austrians. Again, we've got some flanks folding. You see, again, there's just... Helder Expedition does not have much left in the center. Denmark needs to start pushing this infantry units up into this flank. Helder Expedition being way too aggressive right here. I just see this huge opportunity for Denmark to just roll up the Helder Expedition's line right here. It's not even, it's just staring me in the face. Incredibly frustrating that Denmark doesn't see it. Well done on France Orient right here. UK's lines are extremely thin. Not only extremely thin, but France Orient is outflanking. He's got the local superiority on the United Kingdom. You see this unit is routing. There's only like 54 men left from this other unit. France could easily push up now against the United Kingdom, outflank them in the forest, maybe hold their center line back farther so that they take less casualties, outflank them. UK could potentially be cut off from the rest of its armies. There's this gap right here that France could exploit by pushing its infantry here. Well done for France for pushing up its infantry. It needs to fold back its line right here. It's taking unnecessary flanking fire from Austria in this section. I would just fold up your line completely at this point. If Denmark's not going to push, he needs to fall back to preserve his army. Imperial Guard still on the retreat, not completely out of the fight yet. UK's in real trouble here. They've got another unit routing, and if I was France, I think you should definitely be pushing up your infantry at this point to rout the United Kingdom. This unit's going to break pretty darn soon. It's about half strength. Its morale is really low. Now's the time for an all-out assault. in the center here from France Orient. Be aggressive, guys. Be aggressive. You recognize some excellent flanking opportunities against your enemy, and now's the time to push. They're pushing again on this flank. I'd move up this infantry unit farther if you could. Maybe fall this infantry unit back. There's not much left of it. You're also in trouble from these howitzers right here. Maybe even just fall back this flank completely. And either way, you need to be pushing on this coalition left side. This unit right here, this France Orient unit needs to be pushed up. It looks like it's guarding this artillery battery. This cav could actually be doing that instead. Imperial Guard continuing to retreat. Austria, it looks like it's pushed up a little bit too much. Austria's pushed up too much. Its men were too thin. It's wavering. It's routing here. And now France has an excellent opportunity to exploit this. Roll up Helder Expedition's line. Again, Helder Expedition is super weak on this center section. Push up your infantry, buddy. Push it up. It's hurting me. This is again hurting me on my inside that you're not taking advantage of this. This was kind of a mistake by Helder Expedition to push outside. They got dragged out of the forest. They got dragged out of the high ground because they thought they were winning. So did Austria. UK looks like it's retreating from the high ground here. Austria's going in for a charge on some unaware France units here. We'll see if they'll be able to rout them. It looks like they're going to be able to do it. There it goes. Well done. Austria's charging in some cav here. This unit could not form square. Good job getting rid of that unit. France looks like it's desperately repositioning its men. Got an enemy general killed here. Oh, it looks like there's some unfortunate fire here. Killed Denmark's general. That's really going to hurt him. These units right here that cannot form square, this is a mistake because they could easily just be hit by this cav here. They needed a unit to form square. This is not the best charge by Helder Expedition. They're charging right into a square right here. And I'm actually surprised they didn't get hung up on the square, and they're going to be able to rout two units. Well done. And that's why I was saying don't have these guys on the far left flank being threatened by the cav because they couldn't form square. And now this square formation is going to be in trouble. It's getting charged by a grenadier unit. A square might actually break from this charge. There it goes. Cav's going to finish off the rest of Denmark in this scenario. I just hate to see these missed opportunities, but France is coming in the back line of Helder Expedition with the charge here. He's going to go for the general. Yes, he is. Looks like he's able to get the general. Who's going to be able to roll up whose line first? I don't know. If I was Helder Expedition, I'd take these Dragoons and I'd be countercharging this French heavy cav at the moment. But at the same point, he has an opportunity to get rid of the rest of Denmark here. He's taking a bunch of fire. He's about half strength. Excellent charge by the Helder expedition. Well done. France had a nice counter charge. Wasn't able to finish off the rest of the Helder expedition. I think he got him out of there a little bit too soon. Probably should have kept him in there to break the line. France had his general unit nearby for support. And this is just chaos everywhere. Looks like the Imperial Guard is still alive. They were able to get out of Sweden's grasp. Well done. France Orient might be in a little bit of trouble. Now we've got this fresh Swedish army here taking the high ground. They're taking the excellent defensive position. France Orient is has taken a lot of casualties. Its troops might still be fresh, but unfortunately are going to be more prone to routing. They're not going to have the better ground. They'll be able to, Sweden should be able to take them fairly easily. I think France, the Imperial Guard, spent too much time in the back lines of the coalition. They weren't helping anybody by retreating their armies. You can just see the line formations on the ground here in the forest from both factions. Just men scattered everywhere. Some more lines here that you can see. I always am amazed by this in the game. Just to see all the men lying on the ground in perfect lines where they fell. It's just really cool. France has fallen back to town. They should continue to retreat against Sweden. They're going to want to hold the house if they can. That's probably going to be their best bet against Sweden. I'm not sure what happened to this artillery. It might have been charged, or maybe it was routed. And this is what I was talking about. This is why I don't like this map. Look at these units are getting caught. They're getting caught in the water. They're going to tire faster. Sweden's got the better ground. They're going to get a bunch of free shots on these infantry as they retreat because they're slower passing through the water. France Orient did a great job here in the center against the United Kingdom, even though there's still a few of the units left, even though it looks like they're badly damaged. Most of the units are under half strength, with the exception of maybe one of them. France is out of line here, out of position. It's getting threatened by this Austrian cav. Needs to come over to the town right now. It's cut off from the rest of its army. It's got Austria encroaching on it. It's got Helder Expedition encroaching on it. The Imperial Guard is coming, but this section of infantry is extremely vulnerable at the moment. Sweden's been able to kind of enclose or envelop this France Orient army. France Orient needs to get units into the house ASAP. I'm not sure why they've got people out of the house. I know they're trying to get some... Okay, there we go. There's a volley. I'm not sure why this wasn't showing anybody inside this building. But there is a house that you saw. Sweden, I'd be careful here. I'd fall back these men, try and hit the house at an angle instead. You got some protection on this hill, which is good from musket fire. However, your return fire is not going to be able to do any damage. And if it is able to do damage, it's going to be very minor. Austria held their expedition. United Kingdom should come up against this other side of the town here, wrap around France Orient. You'd be able to divide them, since France Orient is divided from whatever's left of France Italy. I think this is a mistake for France Italy. They're going for this house. Looks like they're trying to make a stand here. I don't think that's necessarily the best option right now. I think the biggest army in trouble is this this France Orient army, which is, I think, more helpful at the moment. The Imperial Guard is pretty darn fresh. They haven't lost a whole lot of units because they've just been maneuvering this entire match. Helder expedition is extremely weak. Even with support of the UK, I think the Imperial Guard could take them. Even with the support of Austria as well, I think the Imperial Guard could defeat all of these, unless there were some good cav charges into the Imperial Guard's line. I think France Orient's the weakest, and they need the most help right now. Besides the defeated Denmark and France Italy is what I mean. A heavy cav charging into this line. I'm not sure why it didn't form square. Some mistakes. Sweden's charging in. It's infantry. There needs... Fall... be careful you don't shoot your own guys in the back here. Fall these units back. If this one's routing, fall this unit back. Get these guys, sandwich these guys in between the house. Get some flanking fire from the town hall into Sweden. I don't know if Sweden can enter on this side. France Orient needs to continuously fall back here. Buildings on fire. Sweden is approaching. I think this is premature for France to charge into Sweden. There's just too many infantry units. He might be able to rout this, but he's flanked here. There's a supporting infantry unit right here. So much chaos. With the burning building, howitzers popping off, bayonet charging. Well done on Sweden for continuously pushing against France Orient on this side. Be careful you don't run your general into these stakes here, France. There is an opportunity to bayonet charge these line units right here, or bayonet charge this unit. Be extremely helpful. France Orient should put them in. Excellent charge. Good job on running these infantry units. Now switch over to your left side. If there's no more infantry, switch over to your left side or get some protection from this side. This Swedish unit needs to be put into the fight. Looks like we've got some Swedish grenadiers into France Orient's line. And they were able to... they each lost a unit in that fight. France Orient is putting up one heck of a fight here. If only it had some reinforcements from this left side, if the army of Italy come over, might have been able to shoot some of these units in the back. Maybe give some France Orient some breathing room. Now France is sandwiched in between. They're just completely enveloped by Sweden's armies. Check out Sweden on this other side. Sweden lost a unit. This unit is wavering. It's probably going to break pretty soon if it gets some good volleys into it. France doing a good job. It's got some units in the house, able to provide some flanking fire. I'm glad to see that France has at least been fighting around this house since he's been taking the village. And unfortunately, he's charging the last of his troops into Sweden. He just didn't have enough to defend it. Sweden will be able to charge some infantry units into the house, and they're going to be able to take it. Looks like France-Italy commands this house. Looks like UK armies are not going to be able to take it. Where did Imperial Guard go? Okay. I'm not sure what the Imperial Guard's plan was here. Throughout this match, it just seemed like they weren't interested. Or maybe they were overconfident at the beginning of this match. Went in to try and defeat Sweden on their own and then got caught up in their flanking movement too much. And then just retreated across the back part of this map. I guess that they were just going to maybe link up, but if they were going to link up with anybody here, they could have been... France Orient could have used the help on this side. And I think the combined Imperial Guard army with the way the France Orient player played on this match, the great defense that he had, would have been enough to destroy Sweden, and I think they would have had enough left to destroy what's left of the Helder expedition. So again, Imperial Guard is just in the back line here for the coalition. I don't know what his endgame is here. Looks like there's some Landwehr unit here in the 4-pointer. Sweden still battling this Grenadier unit in the house. Looks like there's a returned France Orient infantry unit here. So I'll go ahead and fast forward. All right, so the Imperial Guard actually engaged against a single Landwehr unit from Austria that was guarding the 4-pointer. Pretty sneaky. I didn't realize it 100% at first. If they take this house, they might actually have the... they might come out ahead with the LOC advantage in this match if they take these ruins right here. There's only about 30 seconds left to go in this match. I'm sorry, it looks like this is actually going to be an even point match. If the Imperials take the house, it will be 7 points versus 7 points at the end of this match. So it looks like it's actually going to be a draw between the Imperials and the Coalition today on the LOC point totals. Good game, everybody. I'll go ahead and read the stats here for the armies. And so we have X-Mug as United Kingdom with 705 kills. We've got Steely Dan as Sweden, and he had 1,345 kills. We've got Private Drusko here playing as Austria with 1,334 kills, followed by Hoplite 82 playing as a Helder Expedition with 1,344 kills. For the Imperial factions today, we've got Garden Variety Socialist playing as France Orient with 1,845 kills. Playing as France Italy was Antonov with 1,549 kills. Stuka Blatt, not sure how you pronounce that, was playing as Denmark with 682 kills. And Derpy Rush was playing as the Imperial Guard with 825 kills. But like I said, good game to everybody. I'll go through the kill count here. Let's see. Johan August Sandals, which is an infantry general. For Sweden, had 163 kills. There are a couple other close units here. Go down the list. All right. Once again, everybody, thank you for watching. Please feel free to reach out to me. Let me know that you guys enjoy the matches. And I will catch you guys on the next one.